And that's how bread is made. A complete bread making process is made from raw materials to the final product.
We start by activating the yeast and mixing the dough thoroughly. After a good knead and proof, they go into the oven until golden and perfect.
The journey of a single loaf begins here.
Precision is the first ingredient. Every shipment is weighed and verified to ensure the strict ratios required for industrial-scale consistency.
Using advanced pneumatic systems, the grain is whisked away at high speeds, beginning its journey through a maze of filtration and cleaning.
In this temperature-controlled environment, a vast library of ingredients waits to be summoned by the master computer for the perfect dough blend.
Before a single seed is ground into flour, it must pass a battery of tests. Science ensures that every loaf has the perfect texture and rise. At the threshold of production, the scale of global nourishment begins with the arrival of raw grain at these massive storage monoliths.
Logistics meet appetite as thousands of tons of wheat arrive via rail, ensuring a constant supply for the hungry machinery ahead.
Pneumatic systems act as the lungs of the factory, inhaling the raw harvest at incredible speeds through reinforced conduits.
Before a single seed is processed, rigorous scientific testing ensures that only the highest quality grain meets the factory's standards.
A relentless river of gold flows into the depths of the plant, moving along miles of conveyor belts to begin the transformation. The journey begins with rigorous scrutiny, where human expertise meets the bounty of the harvest.
Precision logistics ensure that the factory's massive appetite for grain is satisfied without a second of downtime.
Science dictates the art of the bake, as every kernel is analyzed for its hidden potential.
Behind the scenes, dedicated engineers maintain the mechanical pulse of the production line.
From the command center, every variable is monitored to ensure the perfect flow from field to oven.
The journey of every loaf begins at the intake bay, where millions of tons of premium wheat are offloaded into the facility.
Propelled by air and pressure, the raw grain is transported through a labyrinth of steel veins at speeds exceeding 6 miles per hour.
Before a single grain can be milled, it must pass a rigorous digital physical. Sensors check for protein, moisture, and purity in milliseconds. Automation is the heart of the modern bakery. Computer-controlled manifolds direct the flow of ingredients with zero margin for error.
Mechanical purification ensures that only the purest wheat remains. Vibratory screens and magnetic traps remove every trace of impurities.
Deep within the silo discharge zone, gravitational force and pneumatic pressure work in tandem to begin the flour's journey into the facility.
Traveling at speeds exceeding 20 meters per second, the flour is transported through a closed-loop system to ensure total purity and climate control. Precise hydration is critical. Our automated system measures liquid ingredients to within a fraction of a percent to guarantee consistency. Before mixing begins, centrifugal sifting aerates the flour, breaking up clumps and ensuring the texture is uniform and ready for hydration. With the raw materials refined and measured, the dry ingredients are discharged into the mixer, setting the stage for the creation of the dough.
The journey begins with the intake of premium wheat flour, moved by high-pressure pneumatic systems into massive storage silos.
Beyond flour, micro-ingredients like yeast and nutrients are measured with pharmaceutical precision to ensure consistency across millions of units. Water is more than just an ingredient. Its temperature and purity are strictly regulated to act as the catalyst for the entire baking process.
Before mixing begins, the dry components are blended in a high-speed vortex to ensure the salt and conditioners are perfectly distributed.
Real-time laboratory analysis checks the protein and moisture levels of every shipment, allowing for millisecond adjustments to the recipe. Every day, hundreds of tons of high-grade flour are pumped from these massive silos into the heart of the facility.
Refining the flour is a high-speed mechanical process that removes even the smallest imperfections.
Water temperature must be exact, as a difference of just 2 degrees can ruin the entire fermentation process.
Awakening the yeast in these tanks is the first step in unlocking the flavor and texture of the bread.
Precision weighing ensures that the recipe remains consistent, whether we are making 1 loaf or 1 million.
high-pressure pneumatic systems move tons of flour per hour through a labyrinth of pipes, keeping the ingredient stream sealed and sterile.
Precise hydration is key. Automated manifolds meter liquid ingredients with milliliter accuracy to maintain the perfect dough rheology.
In these hydration tanks, the yeast is awakened, creating a concentrated biological slurry that will soon breathe life into the flour. Microdosing units add vital nutrients and fortifiers, ensuring that every batch of bread is as nutritious as it is consistent.
Every morning, the facility receives hundreds of tons of high-protein flour, moved via pneumatic pressure into climate-controlled silos.
Quality control is paramount. Even a minor deviation in moisture content can disrupt the entire automated fermentation schedule.
Yeast is the living heart of the bakery, kept in a state of suspended animation until the exact moment of activation.
Water is more than an ingredient. It is a thermal tool, filtered and calibrated to within 1/10 of a degree.
Precise automated dosing ensures that every single loaf produced today will have the exact same nutritional profile and flavor balance.
Quality is non-negotiable. Each shipment undergoes rigorous testing to ensure the gluten and moisture levels.
Liquid yeast, a living organism, is stored in specialized refrigerated tanks to keep it dormant until it meets the warm dough mixers.
Water is more than just an ingredient. It is purified and chilled to exact temperatures to control the rate of fermentation.
Final ingredients like salt and fortifying nutrients are added via microdosing robots, ensuring precision to the thousandth of a gram. The journey begins with the intake of thousands of tons of flour, moved by air through a complex network of pneumatic tubes.
Pure water is the secret catalyst. It is filtered and chilled to precise temperatures to control the upcoming fermentation.
Salt and sugar are sifted and weighed with surgical precision, ensuring that every loaf tastes exactly like the last.
At the dosing manifold, the final minor ingredients are injected into the stream, completing the recipe's complex chemical profile. The journey of every loaf begins here, in these massive silos holding tons of meticulously sifted flour.
Water purity is critical. Every gallon is filtered and temperature controlled to ensure the yeast reacts perfectly during the mixing phase. Living yeast cultures are prepared in specialized vessels, awakening the biological engines that will give the bread its rise and flavor profile.
Precision is paramount. Salt and specialized enzymes are measured down to the milligram to ensure every batch is identical. Before a single gram enters the mixer, the flour is analyzed for gluten strength and moisture to guarantee a consistent bake.
The journey of every loaf begins here, at the massive intake terminals, where millions of tons of grain are received daily.
Nothing is left to chance. Every batch of grain undergoes rigorous testing to ensure its protein and moisture levels meet exacting standards.
Huge milling rollers grind the grain into a specific texture, a process calibrated to a fraction of a millimeter for ultimate consistency.
Precision is paramount. Automated systems weigh out yeast and salt with a tolerance of less than 1/10 of a gram.
Propelled by air, the freshly milled flour travels through a network of tubes at high speed, heading toward the heart of the bakery.
Our process begins here at the intake docks, where thousands of tons of premium wheat flour arrive daily to fuel the production line.
Purity is paramount. Every gram of flour is sifted through vibrating stainless steel meshes to ensure no foreign particles enter the mix.
From the intake, the flour is pneumatically transported into climate-controlled silos, preserving its integrity until the moment of mixing.
Yeast, our living ingredient, is kept in a state of suspended animation within these chilled tanks, monitored by precision thermal sensors. Beyond flour and water, the secret to consistency lies in the precise weighing of minerals and salts, overseen by our expert quality team. The journey of the loaf begins here, as tons of specialized flour are offloaded into our holding silos under strict pneumatic control.
Purity is paramount. Every gram of flour is sifted and filtered through magnetic arrays to ensure zero contamination.
Water and liquid yeast are precisely metered and temperature controlled to guarantee the perfect biological environment for dough fermentation. Consistency is the soul of baking. Our automated load cells ensure that every minor ingredient is added with milligram accuracy.
Before a single loaf is mixed, our laboratory technicians verify the protein and moisture levels of every incoming shipment.
Every hour, tons of high-protein flour arrive, moved by massive pneumatic systems that act as the lungs of the facility. Storage is a science of precision, where moisture and temperature are monitored to the fraction of a degree. Liquid ingredients move through a hidden arterial network, precisely measured to activate the fermentation process.
Even the smallest ingredients are subject to rigorous weighing, as a single gram can alter the texture of 1,000 loaves. Before a single grain enters the mixer, it must pass a battery of tests to prove it meets our uncompromising standards.
The journey of every loaf begins with the arrival of raw ingredients, where tons of high-grade flour are...
Rigorous testing ensures that only the finest grains enter the production line, maintaining the perfect balance of protein and moisture.
Temperature-controlled liquid yeast is the biological engine of the process, kept in a dormant state until it is ready to bring the dough to life.
Standing as monoliths of industry, these silos hold the vast reserves of grain needed to sustain non-stop production cycles.
Secondary ingredients are managed with equal precision, using robotic systems to sort and store every sack with absolute inventory accuracy.
Every day begins with the arrival of high-grade wheat, transported in sealed tankers to maintain perfect purity and moisture levels.
Automation monitors every pound of flour, tracking protein levels and humidity to ensure the consistency of the dough remains flawless. Fresh yeast arrives under strict temperature controls, preserved in a dormant state until it is introduced to the mixing chambers. Even the smallest ingredients are managed by autonomous systems, ensuring that every batch of bread follows the exact scientific formula. Before a single gram enters the production line, it undergoes rigorous lab testing to guarantee the highest quality of the final loaf.
The journey begins with the arrival of premium wheat flour, delivered in bulk to our massive storage silos.
Liquid yeast is stored in pressurized, temperature-controlled tanks to ensure the biological cultures remain dormant until mixing.
Every ingredient, including the vegetable oils, undergoes multi-stage filtration to guarantee absolute purity in every loaf.
Our male African-American laboratory technicians use automated sensors to verify gluten strength and moisture levels before any material enters the line.
Logistics and automation work in harmony to ensure that over 500 tons of raw materials are processed daily. To meet global demand, the journey begins at these massive grain elevators, where hundreds of tons of raw wheat are... Once the wheat is processed, it travels through an intricate network of pneumatic tubes, moving at incredible speeds to reach the mixing stations.
Quality is never left to chance. Every grain is scanned for moisture and protein content to ensure the perfect loaf every single time.
Massive quantities of raw grain arrive daily, where powerful hydraulic systems empty entire trailers in a matter of minutes. In this automated hub, every gram is accounted for as the grain is sorted and routed to the milling department with mathematical precision.
The journey begins here, where thousands of tons of premium grain arrive daily to fuel the massive machinery of the industrial bakery.
Powerful pneumatic systems pull the grain from the transports, moving it at speeds that ensure the production line never slows down.
Precision is paramount. Every batch is tested to ensure the moisture and protein levels meet the exacting standards of our automated recipes.
Stored in massive temperature-controlled silos, the grain awaits the milling process that will transform it into the fine flour needed for the perfect loaf. Before milling can begin, high-speed vibrating screens remove any impurities, ensuring only the highest quality kernels move forward in the process.
The journey of every loaf begins here, where thousands of tons of high-grade wheat arrive from the harvest fields to feed.
Before a single grain enters the facility, it must pass rigorous testing to ensure it meets the strict tolerances required for industrial-scale baking.
Pneumatic systems provide a sterile and efficient method to move raw material through the plant at speeds that would be impossible with manual labor.
Mechanical filtration ensures that only the purest grain enters the production line, protecting both the machinery and the quality of the final product.
These massive silos act as the facility's lungs, breathing in raw materials and holding them in a temperature-controlled...
And that's how bread is made.
Complete bread-making process is made, from raw materials to the final product.
Modern logistics relies on high-speed robotic integration to ensure every loaf is handled with extreme care and efficiency.
Speed is the essence of the bread industry, as fresh products must reach shelves within hours of leaving the industrial ovens.
Even at the final stage, every single package is scrutinized for seal integrity and labeling accuracy before it leaves our care.
As the sun sets, the distribution network begins its silent work, spanning thousands of miles to feed the nation's tables.
And that's how bread is made. A complete bread making process is made, from raw materials to the final product.